Hello, everybody. You're very welcome to our webinar. Before we get started, I'm going to introduce Ines, our very special guest, in a couple of minutes. But before we get started, just in the chat there, if you just fill in where you're dialing in from today, where you're joining us from, and we'll talk to you now in a couple of moments. So you see that chat button? You're very welcome, everybody. And Ines is here with me as well. And we get going in a couple of minutes. But before we get going, while we're waiting for everyone to come in, just fill in on the chat there where you're dialing in from. We'll be going now in a couple of moments. So say hello to everybody. Let me see who's coming in. You're very welcome, everybody. You're joining us now. We'll get going now in a couple of minutes. So fill in that chat where you're coming from. And we'll be going we'll be getting started in a couple of minutes. Hello, everybody. Hello, Nikki from London. You're welcome. And we've Bert from Belgium. Bert, it's great to see you. And France, welcome, France. And we've Alberta from Canada. Excellent stuff. So we'll be getting going now. So let me just, and we've somebody from Edinburgh. Dallas are here. Welcome, Dallas. Good to see you again. Good stuff. Okay, so let me just introduce you to our very special guests tonight. So I'm delighted to have Ines with us. Hello, Ines.
Hi, guys. Hello from Germany. How are you doing?
So a lot of you may know Ines. Ines is a wonderful photographer all the way from Germany, and she spent a lot of time in the US. So what we're going to do is we're going to go through the presentation first, and about 25 minutes time, then we're going to bring Ines in, and we're going to do an interview. And she has a fascinating story, and I know you'll really, really enjoy that story. So we'll see you shortly again, Ines.
Yeah, see you.
Okay, so let's get started, guys, with today's presentation. And today's presentation is about how to increase your sales with a print viewing. And we're going to touch on a number of topics. And what we're going to talk about is we're going to talk, what is a print viewing? Because some of you might know what a print viewing is, and some of you do. Many photographers we encounter are still doing a digital viewing. And we'll talk about how is a print viewing different from a digital viewing. There are challenges and considerations that a lot of photographers present to us as to how do we handle these things. So we'll discuss some of those up front. We'll then discuss the sales psychology as to why a print viewing works. So the reason why a print viewing is doubling the average sales value of photographers is actually down to the psychology of selling, the psychology of buying, and then just today's marketing generations who are our client for a lot of photography. We'll then talk about the different print viewing methods. And I'm delighted that there's a cameo appearance this evening of Photo Nottingham and the Stuart McIntyre and Daniel. Stuart actually invented what we call the McIntyre flip. So I'm really looking forward to bringing you through that. We'll talk about then how a lot of photographers go on and sell for the wall, even though they're doing a print viewing. We'll then have the interview with the wonderful Ines, who you've already met. And then we'll summarize around what are photographers getting with average order values and average sales values when they do a print viewing. And then we'll summarize the whole thing. So who am I first? So those of you who are joining us for the first time, I'm Ronan Ryland, the founder and CEO of 3XM. And I have had many failures in my business career. In fact, I've probably made more mistakes than you all collectively together. But that's a good thing. Yeah, you pick yourself up and you move on. I've also believe in lifelong learning and learning every single day. So every couple of years, I try and do, my last master's was in sales management. I try and do something new to learn. And you being here is just part of that learning process. And I will learn as much from you today. And I will learn an awful lot from Ines when we talk to Ines. And that's a great day for me when you learn something new. There's two mantras in life and in business that I live by. The first is success equals IQ minus ego plus hard work. And the second one is that great quote from Winston Churchill, which is success is not final. Failure is not fatal. It's the courage to continue that counts. So let's discuss what a print viewing is. And the print viewing starts well before the viewing stage. The print viewing starts at the consultation for me, because at that stage, you're educating your client about what they can expect. If that consultation is done face-to-face, you're showing them the products that you'll be offering to sell them. You'll be showing them the process. You'll be showing them your studio. And at that stage, you're setting the expectation in your client's head as to what's going to happen at the print viewing stage. After the shoot, it's really important that you do another product walkthrough. and that your client gets a clear and concise price list to take away with them. And that way, at this stage, you're setting the expectation of the client's mind as to what they might spend. So before they even return for the viewing, they will have a set figure in their head. The viewing itself. So there's a simple methodology to the viewing. So when they come back, of course, you make them feel welcome and you give them a refreshment. And then most photographers do a slideshow to music, and that builds the whole emotion and expectation. And then you do the reveal, the print reveal, with the matted prints. And you can do this in a number of ways. And we're going to go through those today. We're going to go through using the wall, which Ines uses. We'll talk about doing the secret box reveal that a lot of family portraiture clients do and a lot of senior photography clients do. And then we'll be talking about the new MCINTYRE flip, which is actually a play on the two and how they can be used. So the print viewing, why does it work? And we'll touch on the psychology in a couple of moments. But the key reason why it works is that the client gets to leave on the day of the viewing with the product, which they can't do at a digital viewing. And of course, with today's generation Y and Z, it's important that they can access those images that you've sold them across various different media. So it's really important that you give them that online gallery, which will drive the referral. And a lot of photographers have said to us that the fact that the client leaves on the day, it leads to actually instant referrals after that viewing point. In fact, one of our other ambassadors, Wendy de Kramer in Belgium, says on average she gets 4 instant referrals since she started doing a print viewing only last April, 12 months. So that's a really, really important thing to understand, that referral is far hotter and far warmer than any other lead that you generate in any other way. So how is it different in a digital viewing? So how it's different is that before the client comes for the viewing, you're actually pre-selecting between 20 and 40 images, printing them, matting them, and having them ready at the viewing. When the client comes for the viewing, then they're able to touch and interact with the images. So everybody today is tangible. You know, we love to hold the tangible. Even today's generation Y and Z love the tangible. And we'll talk about a few really important things around Generation Z, who are, 23 years of age max now, and the last one was born a second ago. And they absolutely love the tangible despite being that digital native generation. It reduces decision fatigue. Quite often some photographers say 70, 80, 90, just trying to go through that process and narrow it down. So your client doesn't have to use their imagination. So you're not giving them an album or showing them a piece of wall art and say, imagine your image in there. And I know with digital technology now you can present the image in an actual frame and show what it might look digitally, but it's not the same thing as the tangible product. Have you guys lost me? Because my slideshow's disappeared on me. Okay, let us continue. I don't know what's happened there. So why a folio box? So we've invested heavily as a business in the whole folio box piece. And the reason why we've invested in the folio box in the gallery to allow for a print viewing to take place is not because we made great boxes and then saw print viewings working. It was the other way around. We saw the print viewing and studied the reasons why it's successful. And then that's the reason why we started to develop these products. So why does it work? Let's just talk briefly about the psychology as to why it works. So the first reason is you've got to understand your customer, and you've probably all heard about the marketing generations. And for those of you who haven't, have a look at some of our other webinars and you'll see where we discuss Generation Z and some of the other marketing generations in detail. But Generation Y are aged now between 24 and 36. And they are your client for your weddings and your portraits, which is the key things about this generation. So it's all about the experience with this generation. They're also socially savvy and they use their mobiles a lot. So they're on this quite a bit. They're on their mobile phone all the time, on social media. They're very loyal customers. They also are the now generation. And you've heard this, I'm sure, from many, many, many different people. So they're used to instant gratification and getting the thing now. And that's really important. So let's just discuss Generation Z. So Generation Z are your senior photography client, your teen photography client. And as we said a little earlier, the oldest is 23 years of age today, and the youngest was born a second ago. So how are Generation Z and Generation Y different? Because they overlap a little bit there at that age group, but they are quite different. So if you imagine Generation Z, they actually don't remember life without Google. They often learn to swipe, and you probably see this yourself. You see a 2-year-old at a TV actually swiping, thinking it's an iPad, a television. Yeah, so they often learn to swipe before they can talk. They're absolutely use social media, and they live on this device, on this mobile phone device. And you'll see that yourself if you've got children who are Generation Z. They spend so much time on here. And with this generation, with Generation Z, they absolutely use social media differently than any other generation. And if you haven't seen our webinar yet on Marketing Generation Z, it's really, really important. I encourage you to have a look at that, because we go into actually how you find them on social media and how they use social media differently than any of the previous generations. And by understanding that is the best way to market to them. So what is the differences then between Generation Y and Z, and where are they sitting? So if you're a wedding photographer, Generation Y are your current client. And you can see there on the screen, on the slide, the average age for the woman. And we're focusing on the woman because it's always the woman in photography, right? It's the woman who decides what to buy and initiates the whole process. So if you're a wedding photographer, you'll see that Generation Y are currently right in the middle of that average age of Generation Y to be your wedding client. But you'll see, and you see that age is different in the UK compared to the US. There's about 3 years of a difference. But you'll see there that it's only a short time, a couple of years, because the average person is engaged for 20 months before they actually have their wedding. So if you take that off that average age there, you're at age of 25 and a half. So we're now on the cusp of getting into Generation Z. So you're going to see those coming through as your wedding client very, very soon. Interesting, if you're a newborn or a young family, in fact, the average age for the first child is a year less than actually they get married today. But they are your client, and Generation Z are coming into that piece in a second. And of course, if you do senior or teenage photography, they're right in the middle. So it's really important to understand your client so you can understand what this client requires, what's the difference between these marketing generations, and that allows you to sell more. And you'll see in a couple of minutes as to why a print viewing works really, really well with them. So why does a print viewing work? Well, the benefits for your customer are they get far more value. So what do I mean by that? Well, they take many, 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 many selfies a day, a week, a month. So they want quantity of quality images. They don't necessarily want one image on the wall and just have one image. They also love beautiful, tangible pieces. So being able to interact with the item at the print viewing absolutely gives them what they want. And being able to leave on the day gives them absolutely instant gratification. It has been proven, and this has been done where they've actually clipped onto people's brains and they've actually see which area of the brain lights up. And they've proven that if the client can actually get instant satisfaction and leave on the day with the product, whether that's drive away in a car or buy a dress or whatever, that actually triggers something in the brain that they're much more likely to buy from you. And that's why a print viewing works. It's this instant gratification thing again. So let's just talk about Generation Z then, and let's talk about Generation Z in detail. So with Generation Z, this generation are used to the now. They are also, which is really, really powerful thing. I'm sure you see now there's record players for sale again, and you'll see that there's hardback books for sale. And what is actually happening with Generation Z is they've done all these tests to prove that they actually love the tangible. They love the tangible of the vinyl record player. They love the tangible of the book. And they love the Polaroid camera. They all have Polaroids. I have a daughter who's in this generation. And the item she wanted and all her friends wanted last Christmas was to have a Polaroid camera that they can take pictures instantly. And if you go into her bedroom, she has them all hung all over the wall. So that's a really interesting thing. So, but that doesn't mean that they're not listening to Spotify and they're not watching video on YouTube. So it's the combination, the challenge for you as the photographer is how can you combine that tangible with the digital? And how we help facilitate that is with all our folio boxes, which is the tangible, we also have an online gallery that you can put the images that they buy in print on the online gallery, which they can access anytime on their mobile and whatever other device they want to. So just like with their music, where they want to listen to Spotify, but also want the tangible record, they also want the same for their photography and what you sell to them. So why do a print viewing? So what are the benefits for you? So we've gone through this piece as an industry of figuring out how do we get rid of shoot and burn, because people don't see value in shoot and burn. And we've discovered as an industry that it's about selling it in print. So print viewing means you're selling in print at the viewing stage, which is really, really important. It will absolutely increase your average order value and your average sales value. So this is a key component for us. So we're seeing such success by photographers who are doing a print viewing where they're more than doubling their average order value and their average sales values. It's driving referrals. So we talked about instant referral. So there's no hotter lead for you as a photographer than that instant referral. And there's releases time for you. So a lot of photographers actually stop selling at the print viewing and other photographers go on to sell for the wall. So the photographers who stop selling at that stage, they're happy that they maximize their sale at that piece and it releases more time to do more shoots. If you do want to go on and sell wall art, and you'll see that with Stuart in a couple of moments, it's really easy to go on and sell for the wall using the images on the reveal wall to facilitate that process. And you'll see in a couple of moments when Stuart explains the MCINTYRE flip as to how all that fits together. So let's just talk about the print viewing methods. And most of you are probably familiar with the reveal wall, which is like what I have here behind me. So the system is that when your client comes in, the reveal wall is hidden from them. And you can do that by having a screen in front of it or a curtain. There's various different ways you do it. The images are all on the wall. You put them up about 20 minutes before the client arrives. And then when they come in, you make them welcome, you give them a drink, and then you play the slideshow to music. And then you do their print reveal. And the process is that they interact with the matted prints and they can hold and feel and touch them and place them in their box as to what they want to buy on the day. So a lot of photographers who do the glamour or makeover photography actually use a reveal wall. The other methods then is to combine the secret box presentation with the sofa shuffle. So what is that? So this process is where when your client comes in, you have the box and you make sure you present it to the woman. The woman takes it. She probably has her partner with her. She'll interact with the matted prints. She'll start to take them out. She'll start to pass them to her partner and they'll start to interact with them. And it's important then that you have somewhere to put them into the three piles. And the language here is really, really important too. So you have the love them, like them, and not sure about them. Not the good and the bad or don't like. Don't introduce that at all. And that's what the sofa shuffle is about. So ending up with three piles. And then at the end of the process, then you're taking the loved ones and the liked ones and you're putting them together for the client to leave on the day. A lot of photographers say, but I don't have a studio and I do all my viewings in my client's home. You can do it in your client's home too. You can do exactly what we discuss in the sofa shuffle. Or other photographers who like the reveal wall idea will do what we call a furniture or floor reveal. So in that instance, you ask your client for just a couple of moments in their living room or wherever you're going to do the presentation, and then you lay them all out on the furniture or on the floor. and the process then works on from there exactly the same. Or you can do, as we discussed, the sofa shuffle and the box presentation in the client's home meter. And now it's time to look at the MCINTYRE flip. So Stuart and Daniel, who own Photo Nottingham, we've worked with them for a number of months now, and we went live in January with them with a print viewing process. And they've more than tripled their average sale in family portraiture. And during this whole process, Stuart came up with a way of combining both the secret box reveal with the reveal wall. And I'm going to play a short video as to how they did that. So just give me a second here now, and we'll get that going for you.
So how do you present the clients the photos in the viewing?
Well, my technique is a kind of hybrid between other sort of ones that we'd heard about already, which I kind of just stumbled across. I didn't know I was inventing a new method, but some people have all the shots already on the wall ready. Mm-hmm. Other people just use the box, and I use both. So the first thing I do is hand the client the box. And the first thing everyone says is,
it's really heavy.
Yeah, and that's really important actually. The weight of the product, immediately people know it's quality because of the weight.
Yeah, it feels solid.
So then they get to open up, it's all very exciting, get to have a little look in, and then they pass the prints to me.
So once you've given the client the box, what do you do next?
Well then, once they've stopped crying, tears of joy, marvelling at my artistic lighting, they then pass me the pictures and I display them on the wall.
Okay.
So it's kind of a lot of back and forth, but they take the shots and then I display them on the slat wall just like that. One thing that I do, he says, not falling off the stool, is if they're very warm about a photo, I tend to put them on the middle rows. If they're a little bit cooler about a particular image, I put it a bit higher up, a bit out of the way.
Okay.
So all the shots that they're really like engaged with and committed to, and I get a really warm response, I keep in these central and lower zones.
Okay.
They're a little bit more to the eye level.
So do you tend to talk to them about the photos while you're putting them on the wall?
Yeah, but sometimes, believe it or not, less is more. So actually me saying less at this stage is sometimes more powerful than rabbiting on. I just want the clients to enjoy that moment of like observing themselves, sharing it with a loved one, you know, going through the image themselves. So sometimes the best thing to say is nothing.
And so what do the clients tend to say? Do they tend to talk about them, or? Yeah,
quite positively. They're saying, "Oh gosh, you look so handsome." Like, and this, you know, he is a handsome lad, this young lad, and the mum was quite gushing over her boy. You know, it was a really lovely moment to share with the family, actually.
And if there is a family group, who do you give the box to?
Mum, always mum. Yeah. But all photographers know that it's always about the mum, and then that's the process really.
Okay. So now the photos are up on the wall. What do you do next?
So the most important thing is to not rush the viewing, and let the client come to the decision they want in terms of what product they want with their box, whether they're going to have a 5, a 10 or 20 shot box. Once that's agreed and decided and selected and confirmed, then I might talk about wall art as well.
Okay.
And really we've got two options with wall art. We can just use the rack as we are, so we could sort of say, well, how about a triple frame? You could have, you know, portrait, landscape, portrait, and you can sort of just physically move them. Or, of course, we could go back to the digital viewing, use Pro Select, use the pre-made templates. If they want something quite complicated, like one of those multi-aperture storyboard frames, Pro Select. If they're just thinking, I just want our favourite shot big on the wall, then choose that one and have it. Which size would you like it?
So if your approach, you're starting off with a box, but you're also using the wall.
Yeah.
So what do you call that?
Well, I don't know what you'd call it, but 3XM call it the MCINTYRE flip, which I'm sure is just a sop to my ego, which any photographer will accept. So for now, that's what we'll call it. But for us, it's just a print reveal viewing. But yeah, quite flattered that you would call it its own category of viewing. The hybrid, it would be another one. You could just call it the hybrid, and then it doesn't have to have my name attached to it. Sorry, I can't go down that. I can't go down that line. I just can't go down that line.
It just sounds really weird.
I know.
Yeah.
I know.
That's the MCINTYRE flip.
Yeah. Other folk can refer to it as that.
Yeah.
Happily, I can't.
Okay.
So you can see there that Stuart was a little bit humble about the whole thing and us mentioning his combination of the reveal wall with the box as the MCINTYRE flip. So there'll be more from Stuart and Danielle as we move forward over the next couple of months, because we've actually recorded their whole story of that transformation of more than tripling their average order value all the way from the beginning all the way through. And we'll be sharing all that content with you over the next number of months, and we're really looking forward to that, and hopefully you can learn something from that. So let me just start my slideshows again. Just give me a couple of seconds. Okay. So we've gone through the MCINTYRE flip. So as you can see, Stuart does go on and sell for the wall, and all of his price lists combine collections, and he has wall art in certain collections. And you saw briefly there in the video as to how he goes about that. And as I said earlier, some photographers decide to stop at this stage, and some photographers continue all the way through and go on to sell for the wall. So other challenges in consideration. So some photographers say, well, we don't have space to do a reveal wall. So you've seen today as to how it doesn't have to be a reveal wall, as to how you can do the secret box reveal with the sofa shuffle. Or in fact, if you're in your client's home in the in-person viewings, you can do a furniture reveal, or you can do the sofa shuffle and the secret box reveal as well. Image selection, so you've got to choose at 20 to 40 images. So a lot of photographers say to me, well, how do I go about that? How do I know that I pick the ones that my client's going to want to buy? So if you've connected with your client properly, you will know the ones that they like to buy. And it's about having variety in that selection, that there's variety there, that they can select those images that they want to buy. Editing time. So a lot of photographers say, well, that means I have to edit all the photos prior to the viewing. And to be frank, if you're not already doing that for a digital viewing, I think there's a mistake being made. It's like going into a garage and you want to see a car that has metallic paint on it, but the salesman says, well, we don't have any cars with metallic paint here to show you, but here's one without metallic paint. Now, imagine what it'd be like with metallic paint. It's just not quite the finished article as to what I would want to buy in that scenario. Yes, you are printing and matting in advance, but if you're doubling your average order value, it doesn't matter. And of course, with our ultimate mats, it's really easy to recycle the old mats. So anything that doesn't sell, and not every print will sell every single time, you can recycle the mats and reuse the mats, because that's what's costing most money here. It's not the cost of the print. And yes, you need to figure out a digital file workflow. Now, when the client leaves on the day, if you're presenting those images on a USB in the lid, like you can with our product, that you have a way to select those and burn them to the USB while the client is there waiting. And of course you can, if your client can't come to the viewing, you can do a remote viewing. In fact, Ines was just telling me there a little while ago that she actually has a Skype viewing this evening because the client lives 4 hours away and just couldn't get back for a print viewing. So she's going to do a Skype viewing. So now I'm delighted that we can introduce Ines Schaefer to you. Before we go live with it, I just want to play you a short video that lasts about 2 minutes, and it just gives you, it's one of Ines's marketing video, and it just gives you a feeling for her business and the type of photography she does. Yes, so let me get that going for you now. Hello, Ines.
Hi, Ronan.
Say hello to everybody. Give them a
Hi.
big German wave there.
Hi, everybody. How are you doing?
Okay, guys, for this interview, because Ines is the important one here, so I'm going to make Ines big screen and put me down in the little corner there, and we get going.
God.
So there you go. Much nicer to look at Ines than me, I assure you.
Oh. Thank you,
So
sir.
Ines, look, we're honored to have you as an ambassador of 3XM. And I think it's really good when people see other people's real stories, because that's how we really connect with people. And we connect, and the story means so much more when you hear from the person themselves. So tell us a little bit about your business.
Well, I'm a portrait photographer and I'm specializing in portraiture for women. And well, first, when I started with my photography business, I was literally like dabbling into everything. And back then I did like a digital reveal because I figured I won't do online galleries or anything like that. I just want to come and bring back my clients back to me and see that excitement when they see their pictures the first time. And that's when I actually decided to have digital reveals back then. And then I restructured my business and rebranded it into that portraiture for women. And for that reason, I really tried to make it like a great experience from the very first second for my client. The minute they walk in, make them feel comfortable in creating a safe haven for them. And not only that during the session, but also when they come back to present them something that they could touch and see, not only on the screen. And that's when the printed reveal came into play for me. And it really, I could notice straight away, even with the portfolio building clients, what impact that made for them to really walk into my, well, back then it was my home, to walk back to my home and seeing that beautiful video that I created for them. And afterwards, I walked them into my dining room and had all the prints on my dining table.
And this was when you were in the US, right?
Exactly.
Okay, so you were in Alabama, was it?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
It was really great times there, and roll tide for everybody. It was really quite an impact for every single client that came in and saw these printed images. So they went there, and for the first couple minutes they were really intimidated and didn't even dare to touch them. And I always told them, you can pick them up and hold them and just look at them and see which one you like best. And
okay, so it's really important then to encourage the clients to interact with them, because they might stand off and be a bit afraid. Yeah,
absolutely. Okay. Absolutely. And it happens all the time. I mean, even now in Germany, where I do the same thing, I have like a reveal wall going on and have the prints there. And it's still, I mean, it's no matter where in the world you are, the people just want to experience that. And it's always the same reaction when they walk in and they see this wall with themselves on there in the most beautiful way that we photographers capture them, because that's our job, right? And it's always like such a touching moment when they stand there and like, oh my God, is that me? And then they walk there and they still don't dare to touch them. And it's always so funny because I'm like, oh, well, you can go there and touch them and pick them up. And they're like, oh, really? So it's just always funny. And that moment when they really start touching them and picking them up, it's already sold. I mean,
so I'd like to bring you back in time, Ines, now to why you started your business. Why did you decide photography? And
well, that's a good question, though. I just felt like I was kind of trying to find something with purpose. So I had quite a career, like doing different stuff, and in the end, thinking about what I did all on jobs and careers in my life, now with this photography business, everything comes together, like, you know, helping people, comforting them, making them look the most beautiful, and just like, I mean, for me, it literally everything comes together in this job and in this genre that I did, or that I'm doing right now. And it's just an amazing feeling to have all these women coming into the studio and being able to empower them and show them that they are beautiful the way they are. So
You can absolutely sense that you love your business so much. And business is hard, right? But you can see your enthusiasm, and what you're saying to us is that it's about, you feel you're empowering women and you're showing them at their best and you're making them feel good about themselves, and you're capturing those in perfect memories. And that's what drives you every day.
Absolutely. And also knowing that what I do and what a lot of photographers do is a legacy. So I know for sure that what we do there, especially with the printed reveal and a reveal box or a folio box, that this is gonna outlive me as the photographer, but also outlive the person that's showcased in those portraits, because it's gonna be passed down for generations. It's not like, you know, just having it on a hard drive or in a drawer or something like that, how we used to do it, or how shoot and burn photographers do it. So it's really something that I know for a matter of fact that this product that I provide for my clients will be there for at least the next 100 years. And that's a great feeling.
Yes. Wow, that's amazing. So what's success for you, Ines? Is it that it allows you to build a business around your family because you have a young family? It gives you more time? Or is success more income? Or how do you define success? How do you know when you've reached that pinnacle and I've now made it for what I want to achieve?
Well, success is a very, how would you say that? A very personal, a very, not an objective thing, but a very personal thing. So for everybody, success is something different. For me, success is actually to bring this genre into a new place, like I did now from Alabama, moving back to Germany, and to introduce this new sort of concept, and seeing the reaction of people. So the other day I was like on a trade show and was presenting my studio and what I do, and a lot of people were like, oh my God, I never heard something like this. And I said, well, here we are. Just come and see me at the studio and experience it for yourself. So that for me is success, to actually show people what we are doing or what I am doing with my studio, and just to make it going, you know.
That's a really interesting point, because we hear a lot of photographers say, oh no, this glamour makeover, it only works in the US market and it's not going to work in the UK or Europe. And yet we're selling into 43 countries now. So we know it's successful in other countries. So are you getting the same reaction from potential clients in Germany as you were getting in the US?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I'm in the bottom of my heart, I know that it doesn't matter where you build up this kind of business that I do. And for that matter of fact, I knew that I was gonna take this studio business with me wherever our path would lead us. So, because to be honest, especially women, and empowering women, it's such an important thing to do in my eyes. And I feel like there's everywhere around the world women that want to be seen, and it doesn't matter if it's in Alabama or in California or in France or in Belgium or in Germany or in the UK. We are humans, and we are all some sort of narcissistic, and we just want to be seen. And well, that's what we make happen. We make the people see and be seen.
So a lot of photographers, they have concerns in adopting a print viewing sales process. And you said that you initially were doing a digital viewing and then you switched to a print viewing. Was there an aha moment for you with that? Or what encouraged you just to go and do it?
Well, I heard about it. I was taught about it during my education, and I just thought, well, I'll give it a try. And because that lady can't be wrong, she's running her business successfully since many, many years. And I thought, why should I reinvent the wheel? Because, I mean, it works for her and it works for other photographers. So why wouldn't I not try that? And to be honest, it was really such a game changer for me, because for me already it was, as a photographer, so exciting to see my images printed. And then the process of putting them into a mat was like, wow, look at this. So if this would be my portrait, I would like instantly kind of like, oh my God, I want to have that, you know? And that's exactly what I feel like is the power and the beauty of printed reveals. Just for yourself as photographer to see your work as a print is just so powerful. And then in the next step, to have your clients come back and see that finished product is also really such a huge thing for the entire process. So I never look back of having switched to printed reveal, because it's just everything. It really will change the way you do business, and it will change the sales. And it is just such a service for your client as well, because you're taking that think away from them to think about, oh my God, what will I do with all these digitals and blah, blah. You have it done for them. And they can just go there and pick out what they like and take it home with them and put it on the wall or leave it in the folio box or whatever they want to do with it. So I feel like that is a huge, huge part of the service that we provide, and that we need to provide for our clients, because we are the professionals. They don't care about the size or something like that, or what to do with it. They just want to have beautiful products that they can present in their homes, wherever they are, or put it in their office or something like that, you know? And it's like, well, it's like a disservice for me to not have prints for my clients. That's how I feel about it.
Very good. And why did you choose 3XM, Ines?
Oh, well, I saw someone actually posting boxes from you in a huge group, and I will never forget that. It was like a baby blue box, and I said, oh my gosh, that color, really? But that woman was raving about that box, and I was still trying to find the perfect box for my brand and how I feel about it. And I wasn't quite convinced with the boxes that I used back then, and I just ordered a sample, and that was the premium black box that I still love and use. And the moment I got that box, and you must know, that's just a thing about me, I'm a very touchy and feely person. So the moment I unwrapped that box and I touched it, I was completely lost, because it's just such a beautiful product. And I mean, I make my clients, when they come for their style consultation, and where we talk about the entire process and what they get and everything, and what my top products are, I always make them touch that box and pick it up, because it is such a luxurious thing to have, and everybody freaks out about it when they touch it, just because it is. I always tend to say, like, my grandma had like that little shoebox in her drawer with all the tiny little portraits, and what I offer to my clients is the luxury version of that. And that's exactly why I love 3XM boxes. They are just beautiful.
Very good. We have a couple of questions, Ines, coming in, and you might be able to answer these far better than I can. So somebody from Chicago, they're curious about the time frame from the shoot to when you do the reveal.
Well,
would a month be okay?
Oh,
or
no,
would it need to be less than that?
that's way too long. So I usually tell my clients it's about 2 to 3 weeks until I invite them back for the reveal party. But I always try to be quicker than that. And usually turnaround time is a week to 1.5, depending, well, max 2 weeks, depending on if it was a single session or if it was like a couple or mother-daughter or several generations. But I really try to keep it very short with the turnaround time, just to keep up that excitement and to have them quickly come back to the studio. And well, I had it happen once that it took me longer, and you could immediately feel how the excitement was like over time was like dropping. So I really recommend to have a real quick turnaround time, just because the excitement of being in the studio, having the portraits taken is like, oh my gosh, when can I see my portraits? And it's all about the service and the excitement, I think. So
Very good. The other question we've got is, how long does it take you to retouch the images to get them ready for print? If you're retouching 20, 30, 40 images.
Well, I usually have between 20 and 30 images max for a single session that I process, just because that's how I run my business. I mean, everyone runs it differently, but for my genre, it's just that I don't show more than that for a single session, just because it's too much. It's like overwhelming the people, and a confused mind doesn't buy. So I found that it's, well, 20 to 30 images. And like I said, in my turnaround time, since I print in-house, so I don't send them away to a lab, but I'm able to print in-house, I can really cut down the time, the editing time, and the entire process to max 1.5 weeks usually.
Okay, but the actual time spent retouching the images, I know Photo Nottingham, they spend roughly an hour preparing 30 images ready for print. That's what they would spend.
Per print or?
No, in total. They spend about 3 or 4 minutes per print.
For me,
so
since
try and get it right in camera.
Well, that's for sure. But since I'm specializing in portraiture, magazine style portraiture for women, it takes a little longer for the editing time, just because I do a full retouching and beauty retouching with every image. So it takes me longer than an hour for an entire session.
Okay. And the printer you print in studio, is that a Canon or what are you using?
Yes.
Or an Epson?
Yes, I'm using a Canon Pro 1000 and I'm super happy about it. So it's perfect for the 11 by 14 boxes with I use a 7 by 10 inch opening, and it's just perfect. I mean, it's really great thing to do and to have the full control over it. I'm a little bit a control freak.
The question we have then, and I can answer this, do you keep a stock of boxes in storage? Absolutely. So most of our clients they'll order 4 or 5 at a time, some order 2 or 3 at a time, and they just have them there. That's the inner beauty about it. You always have it ready to go.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's just, last year you joined us on our Future Photography event in 2017. And this year you're joining us again in September. We're really looking forward to having you again. Do you think photographers would really enjoy that event?
Well, absolutely. I mean, for me, it was such a huge thing to connect with other photographers, especially with different genres, and see and learn how they do their business. Because I feel like, especially in our business, we can really help each other growing by sharing our experiences and help each other. Like it's like the same thing, like empowering each other, just because there's so much going on out there, and we really can make it happen that photography business is coming back to the full potential that it was 100 years ago.
That's brilliant. And Ines, we have a really special item for all of our guests, all of our customers, that we actually have a prize for 2 people available to come at our full expense to this year's Future Photography event. So if you just download one of our ebooks or for watching this webinar, you'll be automatically entered in the draw. And also for every €100, pounds or dollars you spend with us in May, June and July, you get another entry to the draw. And we'll be doing that draw in August. So for those of you who would love to meet Ines in person and the rest of our brand ambassadors, make sure you enter the draw by downloading those ebooks, the webinars, and thank you for your business. So we're just going to end the interview with Ines now. I'd like to thank Ines so much for joining us. It was absolutely an amazing insight into your business. It was a pleasure as always to talk to you. And we're going to move on now with the rest of the presentation, the webinar. Thank you, Ines.
Thank you so much. Thanks.
Okay, I'm just going to start the slide presentation again, guys, and we're nearly finished, and we're going to finish up now shortly. So we've had the interview with Ines. In summary, a print viewing combined with a folio box and an online gallery and a USB is instant gratification for your client, which drives instant referrals and will increase your revenue and your margins. We have seen clients at least double their average order value by doing a print viewing sales process. And you met Stuart and Danielle briefly earlier in the video, and they have more than tripled their average order value for family portraiture by just changing to a print viewing sales process. Before we finish, if you haven't yet seen our ebooks, How to Increase Your Sales, or our Art of Pricing, we encourage you to download it. And on our website, on the info tab, you'll also see all of our webinars. So we have a number of webinars up there, and we talked briefly earlier about marketing to Generation Z. And our webinar a couple of weeks ago was all around that process. So I'd encourage you to have a look at those. If you'd like us to crunch your numbers, so a lot of photographers have said to us, look, we really have difficulty in figuring out the numbers piece and what our pricing can be. Well, we're here to help you with that. And in fact, we are willing and able to analyze your numbers for you and even come back with a suggested prices to get you going with our print viewing sales process. So I will be able to share the link, I think, to that. And just give me a moment now and I figure out where I put that. I can't. Okay, so I can, excuse me. No, it's gone on me, I apologize. So what we will do is we will email you all a link in the email following the webinar as to where you put in the details to avail of that very special offer of us, free consultancy from us. If you haven't yet started to use a folio box and you'd like a sample, we give you 25% off any sample using the voucher code LOVEIT. And just for attending our webinar today, you can get 15% off live order products by using the voucher code WebPPP. So if you're ready to place an order, just go ahead and do that. If you haven't yet joined our 3XM Insiders closed group, we'd encourage you to do so, because within that group, we share knowledge among our community, our family, we call it. It's not a community. We're one big happy family with 3XM, with all of our customers and clients and everyone involved. And it's great in there to be able to go in there and ask a question and somebody will pop in and answer it for you. So if you haven't yet joined our 3XM Insiders group, we'd encourage you to do so. So that's all for today. I really thank you for joining us. We could not put on this education without your business. And for those of you who are considering bringing 3XM on as a supplier, we'd love to have your business too. I thank you for joining us. I thank Ines again for joining me today. It was great to see inside her business and get that little view inside her business. And we'll see you again. Our next webinar is in 2 weeks' time. So we'll see you all again. We'll see you on the inside. See you in 3XM Insiders. Bye for now. And thank you for joining us.